American Colonial Poetry. About the reading. Religion and education were important elements of the New England colonies, and it is difficult to find other colonists as intellectual as the Puritans. Their writing reflected the importance of worshiping God and the spiritual dangers that the soul faced on earth. Below you will find samples of poetry by two accomplished women from New England. The first poet was a Puritan, the second was a slave. Vocabulary. Recompense. Alternative spelling of recompense. Repayment. Manifold. Having many forms. Persevere. Alternative spelling of persevere. Continue steadfastly. Anne Bradstreet. Anne Bradstreet was born in Northampton, England, and moved to Boston in 1630. She wrote a volume of poems titled The 10th Muse Lately Sprung Up in America, which was one of the first volumes of poems published by an American. In her poem To My Dear and Loving Husband, she expresses her deep sense of loss when her husband is called away on business. As you read the poem below, pay attention to its rhythmic pattern and rhyme scheme. The poem is written in iambic couplets, a common form of English verse. To my dear and loving husband. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the East doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can do no way repay. The heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then while we live in love, let's so persevere, that when we live no more, we many live ever. Phyllis Wheatley. In 1761, Phyllis Wheatley was kidnapped from Africa and brought to America as a slave. She was only 7 years old. Rescued from an otherwise hopeless situation by the Wheatley family in Boston, Phyllis learned English quickly and was the first African-American poet to have a book of poems published. Vocabulary. Revelers. People who insult or humiliate. As you read the poem below, notice the tone, paying particular, again, attention to the poet's choice of words. From, to the University of Cambridge in New England. Students, to you 'tis given to scan the heights above, to traverse the ethereal space, and mark the systems of revolving worlds. Still more, ye sons of science, ye receive the blissful news by messengers from heaven. How Jesus' blood for your redemption flows. See him with hands outstretched upon the cross. Immense compassion in his bosom glows. He hears revelers, nor resents their scorn. What matchless mercy in the Son of God! When the whole human race by sin had fallen, he deigned to die that they might rise again and share with him in the sublimest skies, life without death and glory without end. Analyzing literature. Main idea. What do the details in Anne Bradstreet's poem tell you about the intensity of her love for her husband? Write a one-sentence summary of the poem that gives the poem's main idea. Critical thinking. What message do you think Phyllis Wheatley is trying to convey? And then activity. Write a poem that reflects your impression of life during colonial times. Try to use an element of hyperbole or a poetic technique involving exaggeration, as you see in lines 5 and 6 in Bradstreet's poem.